Pastor George Borkart, and this is another Higher Things video short. Out of Context Tuesday takes on Romans 8:28. All things work out for good for those who love God. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. Hey, if you love our videos, if you're learning about your Christian faith from places that you never expected to learn about your faith from, a Lutheran pastor, you want a treat, buddy? Better sit up. And his Jack Russell Terrier, go ahead and like and subscribe today. You can also go to support.higherthings.org and give today. Your tax-deductible gift keeps Higher Things, an organization all about passing the faith to the next generation, keeps us going. Romans 8:28 is an out of context because no one believes it. We know that to those who love God, all things soon work together to good. For those who are kletos, having been called, who are called according to his plan. And his plan is that you believe. His plan is that all people be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth. Paul has spent the other 8 chapters confessing that salvation is by Jesus alone, that is, by grace alone, received by faith alone. And this comes from the scriptures alone. That there are 2 ways that God deals with us: by means of what we do and don't do, which is one righteousness, and with the righteousness which God gives. The gospel, faith, works, sin, death, get what you deserve, faith, grace, free forgiveness, suffering and death of Jesus. One or the other. Suffering doesn't all of a sudden mean that God doesn't love you. Suffering does not mean that God all of a sudden took a day off. Suffering does not mean that God, and tribulation does not mean that God wants you to, give more of yourself to him or do something. It isn't that the devil's doing it to you. All right, suffering comes to you as gift from a God who saves you in the giving up of his son. And in the faith of Jesus, in the gospel, knowing how God is toward you in Jesus means that no matter what else happens to you, the good, the bad, the ugly, no matter what else happens to you, God is going to work it out for good. That's the God you have. That's the God who sent his son, the God who saves. This is something that no one believes. If we believed this, we could keep all the 10 commandments. If we believed that God worked all things out for good for those who love him, we would never misuse his name. We would call upon it in every trouble, pray, praise, and give thanks. We would never despise his preaching and his teaching. We'd be in church on Sunday morning. Attendance would be booming. We would never disobey our parents and other authorities. We would know the kind of God he is, that he gave us our parents. We would never hate people. We would never want to kill people. We would never want them to die so that we could get what we want. We wouldn't break the 6th commandment because we would trust that God had given us the person he'd given us, and that's it. We would never steal because we would believe that God's going to work out what we need more than what we could take. We would never slander people and hurt their reputations because we would believe that their reputation is a gift from God, just like our reputation is a gift from God. And we would never covet anything because we wouldn't have to, because we believe that God's going to work things out. This is the first commandment. God is not only just God, but he's good too because of the suffering and death of Jesus. And he's going to work things out. He's going to turn things out for good, not because we're good. And don't take this, don't make everything hinge on for those who love him. He's going to work things out for good because of the suffering and death of Jesus. He's going to make things work because that's the kind of God he is. He's the God who sent his son to save us, which means cancer is going to work out for our good, whether it's cured or not. Heart disease is going to work out for our good, whether it's cured or not. Divorce is going to work out for our good, whether it whether that person comes back or not. The boyfriend breaks up with us, it's going to work out for good, whether he's the one or not. God's going to turn everything. Getting fired, it's going to work out for our good, because God's going to make it work out for our good because of the suffering and death of Jesus. We may not see this good in our life. We may not realize it's good. We may not figure it out as good, but that doesn't change the fact that all the things he could do to us, he is always working things out for good because of Christ, because of the gospel, because he's a good God. No one believes this. Instead, we blame the devil, the world, our sinful nature because of the bad things that happen to us. When we should instead look to God and go, you give, you take away, blessed be the name of the Lord. And you're going to work this out. Think about it. I'm Pastor George Borchardt, and this has been another Higher Things video short.